Hi, I'm Sherry McGill, and you're watching Lessons Learned. Welcome back to Finish It Friday. Good to see you again back here. Another week has passed and projects have gotten done or have made progress at least. No more UFOs around here, right? I've got lots of projects that need attention, but I wouldn't quite call them UFOs just yet. I hope you're keeping up with yours as well. So exciting things that happened this week is I got the Adelita quilt done, the commission quilt that I did, and you may have seen some pictures on Instagram. She has already come and picked up the quilt, but I have a few pictures that I can show you of the finished quilt, and I will insert those right here. Now, when she come to pick up the quilt, she gave me another little project to see if there was something I could do with it. And it is a quilt coat, and boy is it ancient. It is a really old one. Kind of like it. Kind of like it. I don't have any idea how old this is. It's at least, the quilt is at least from the 30s. At least. I even would venture to say earlier than that. And it is in a state of delicacy. So anyway, she brought it to me and it had some serious damage to it. This is something that she wears regularly in the colder season. So I said, sure, I'll take a look at it and see if maybe I could do something with it. She wasn't really very hopeful, so she got excited when I said that I would try. So I did a little footage of what I did, and I will insert that right here. Okay, so I have something interesting to show you. Someone brought me this coat. Actually, it was a quilt turned into a coat in some past time. I don't even know how long ago it was turned into a coat, but you can really see how old this coat is. And the girl has been wearing this coat up until last fall when she sat down in it and it came apart in two places kind of severely. So she wanted to ask me if there's anything I thought could be done for it, and I was like, well, probably some of the fabric is a little dry rot, and that's why that happened. I said, I can fix that, but I don't know how long it's going to hold. So I thought I'd take you along and let you see what I'm going to do with this. So what I've done so far is I've really examined it closely to see if there's anything that could be done. And yeah, I mean, like I said, it may not hold for very long, but I can get that back together. Some of the pieces of the fabric are tattered here, but I have an idea. I think what I'm going to do, and I've already cut this out, I found a piece of material that I'm going to lay over this, and I'm going to bring it down as far as I can without it peeking out from the outside, and tack this on right along here. That's why this is cut to this size. There's a seam between the blocks, and I think I'm going to just run a sewing machine line of stitching through there right between the blocks, like stitch in the ditch. And then this is a square piece of material, but the bottom is slightly rounded. So I think what I'm going to do is take a little dart on each side, which will lift that up like so. But it is going to have to go pretty far down because I need to catch these tattered edges all the way down. And what I mean by catch is I'm going to attach it on the line like I said, and then I'm going to turn this over and I'm just going to zigzag the heck out of it. And I think that'll work. There's no way I can do any straight seams on this to get it to hold. But I think once I've got this backing, you know, as a base to catch those zigzags, it might have a little more life left in it. We thought about making a vent, you know, like a vented coat, but I don't think it's the type of coat that could do a vent. Either way, I'm still going to have to really fix this. So I don't want to add another element to it. Okay, so it's not pretty, but I put this piece of fabric on here kind of loosely so that there would be some ease in the back when you sat down in it. That's what tore it up in the first place, is sitting down on that very worn fabric. So if you look, I've got a lot of zigzagging. I think I would call it darning more than anything. Just trying to keep it together. Get it back together anyways. Here's what the other side looks like. Get it turned over here. This piece right here was pretty much just coming out. The whole thing was just coming out. So I zigzagged around that and down the center. And then, yeah, I did some stitching in this brown color thread. I had some, so I got a nice tight line there. Oops, I'm not showing you, am I? Right through here. And I was switching back and forth between the brown and the cream. And here there wasn't even really enough fabric to reach back over, so I just did many passes of zigzag just to kind of keep it together. Same thing here. I just left the raw edge because I couldn't, and I put extra here as I just really couldn't do much with it. But it might last another season, who knows? Either way, I did something. Okay, so anyway, that's the story, and I think it's probably going to last at least another season for her. It's not pretty what I did, but it's on the inside, and I think it'll give it a little stability for a little while longer. So I have yet to tell her to come pick this up, but it was, I don't know if I'd call it a fun project, but it was exciting to get to work on something this old and, you know, try to make it last a little bit longer. So that's something that I guess you could say I got done this week as well. And let's see, what else did I do? I got my number 2 block of Pat Sloan's Hometown Charms finished. It's just like a log cabin thing, and she wanted us to think about street games. Like when you were a child, if you went out in the street and played, you can't do that these days. You'd get your children taken away from you. But we all used to play out in the street, right? And watch for cars, and we got out of the street when there wasn't a car, or when there was a car coming. So anyway, I lived way out in the country, and we lived on a gravel road, and it frequently had potholes. And the thing that I can remember doing is riding my bike and trying to jump those potholes with my bike. I had an older brother, and he was kind of daredevilish, so I kind of followed him around and tried to do what he did. So there's that. So there's 2 blocks of that little sew along coming along. I did a Harriet's Journey. This one's called Far West. Very easy. This was tiny. These little squares right here are finished out at about a 1/2 inch. So teeny tiny. And we have our sew along, and I did these 2 blocks this week for week 2 of our vintage block, mystery block. And we have shoe fly right here. And I'm still using my Figo fabrics and my Tula solids here. I've got a blue on this one. So week 1, week 2. Next week I'll have another set of blocks for you to do, and I think I'll be going into a bright pink solid for the, the solid part of the block. So we'll get some more colors to mix in here. These blues and green, I love blue and green, as you all know, and so I was excited to get something done in those, but I'm anxious also to get something in some other colors that we can mix these up and move them around. So we'll start to see it take shape here shortly, another couple of weeks, and we'll really start to see what we have. Alright, so now it's time to share your projects that you got done. So let me go to the email and see what we have here. There's a few. Okay, here's Jeanette, and she has done these 2 blocks in the mystery sew along. Jeanette is a local friend of mine. She doesn't live very far away. We've just recently struck up a friendship through the channel and through email and messenger and whatnot. So she is learning to quilt, and I can see her progress on this. She's really doing well on her half square triangles, and she used some green and orange there, which are just delicious together. So good job, Jeanette. I'm really proud of you. And then also another friend of mine. This is an old friend of mine. She doesn't live close anymore. She still lives in Indiana, but she lives way north of here. But when I was a teenager, we were friends, and she also is kind of reviving her sewing abilities, and she recently finished something here, and she says it's her scrap quilt, and she was thought it turned out better than she thought it would, and it's a gift for someone. And she said she made it from scraps that she had, and she used some new white fabric for the sashing and the borders. And then the back was larger pieces of leftover fabrics. The binding is scrappy too. So she almost wants to keep it for herself. I had something like that recently too, didn't I? It's like, I gotta get this out of here before I keep it for myself. Very cute. I love the softness of it. The very soft colors in there. They're all pastel-y, and then there's some feature blocks of roses, and it really turned out good. So you're going to be back to full speed in no time. And she got a brand new sewing machine, so she's well on her way to some major projects. All right, and then Lucy, she did a table runner here out of some fabric that I sent her. Now, if you remember, I did a video on organizing my fabric in my sewing room, and I had some fabrics that were food fabrics. It was like fallish, but it had like, apples and pumpkins and things like that on it, and I just thought it wasn't very pretty at all. And I donated some of my fabric that I knew I wasn't going to use, and she wanted these, so I sent them to her. And this table runner turned out great, and the fact that you used that orange in there, or kind of a cheddar color in there, and that pole really highlighted the beauty of those fabrics. So I didn't know what I had, did I? No, I'm glad that you have them. Says, here's a finished project. Table runner measures 25 by 54 and a half using the ribbon pole quilt pattern by Man Sewing with Rob Appel. I used 3 yards of the fabric you passed on to me. Thanks. Yeah, I'm happy, so happy you used it. Makes me feel really good. And then, let's see here. Anja from Holland. She has a finished project. And she said she recently finished this cat quilt for the girlfriend of her youngest son. And this was the first time that she quilted feathers. And I can see them on the cats there, on the cat bodies. They look really good. She said she used her walking foot for sewing the binding. And the girl was really happy with the quilt. Well, I can see why. That's a really interesting pattern. And how those 4 cats go together to make its own design is really fascinating to see. I love this. And she used kind of a scrappy binding, looks like. Maybe from the fabrics that are in the cats. And then some, I believe it's black and white flower design. And she's got a couple of tiny black borders in there too. So nice work. Very nice job. I love that pattern. And then Dolores had a couple of pictures for me. Okay, I'm going to read what she says first. She says the first pic is the first block of the Mystery Christmas Time quilt along with Fat Quarter Shop. Now that's the one with the cup and saucer there. And she's done hers in like a snowflake pattern. That's really cute. And then, you know, you could take this pattern and put it in any design of fabric. It doesn't have to be Christmas. I think that's kind of the idea with the name of it. But it would make a really cute quilt, even a scrappy quilt. Make those cups. And then the second picture were items I made for a flower quilt challenge we had at our quilt guild last weekend. And it looks like she did a little table topper placemat type thing. And then maybe 4 mug rugs. Or they could just be little tiny quilts. And then what's really striking to me is that pillow. And I can see that you did some raw edge applique on there, and you used some rickrack for your stems. That's gorgeous. I really like that, Dolores. Good job, everybody. All right. Now, I said I was going to get started quilting on this. But then when she brought me the coat, I started working on that, and I didn't get this sandwich. So I'm going to start on that today and work on it some this weekend. So I'm still promising you that I'm going to have this quilted and possibly bound by next Friday. So I've got it out. It's out of the box. So it will be done. It will be done. There's a little spider on my table. Lots of spiders out here. We've been knocking the deck off the back of our house. It's a great big wraparound deck on 2 sides. And oh my goodness, the critters that we've encountered. Spiders, wasp, a snake. Oh, Mark found a snake today. Found a live snake while he was taking some post out of the ground. Whew. And I've helped him some with that too, so I haven't had a ton of time to be in here sewing. But I got some things done. I'm keeping up. All right, so we will see you next week. We'll have our Monday chat, and we'll have our vintage block for week 3 on Wednesday. And before you know it, we'll be back here on Friday with some finished projects. So take this weekend, even though you don't have a whole lot of time and you got to clean your house and whatnot. Oh, that's another thing. My vacuum cleaner won't charge up. It's one of those Dyson stick vacuum cleaners. I actually had to use a broom and dustpan today to sweep my kitchen. Travesty. Anyway, I ordered a new battery for it, so just a few more days and I'll have that thing working again. All right, so a little something. It's good for you, and we'll see you here next week. Bye.